The night shift at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Most operators spent their time watching endless streams of data from space, sipping coffee, and occasionally checking the automated systems. But tonight was different. Tom Parker had been staring at his screen for 15 minutes straight, his coffee growing cold beside him. The energy readings he was seeing couldn't be right. He checked them again, ran 3 separate diagnostic tests, and finally called his supervisor. "Sir, you need to see this," Tom said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "We're picking up massive energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. They're like nothing we've ever seen before." Within an hour, the quiet monitoring station transformed into a hub of frantic activity. Admiral James Wilson, commander of Earth's United Space Command, stood in the center of the room, his experienced eyes fixed on the main display screen. Around him, dozens of scientists and military personnel worked at their stations, tracking the mysterious signals. "Report," Wilson commanded, his deep voice cutting through the tension. Dr. Roberts, the lead scientist, stepped forward with a tablet in his hand. "Sir, we're tracking multiple objects entering the solar system. Their speed and energy output suggest advanced propulsion technology far beyond our current capabilities. These aren't natural phenomena. They're ships." Wilson's expression remained neutral, but his mind was racing. For decades, humanity had prepared for this moment. While the public went about their daily lives, a select group of military and scientific leaders had worked tirelessly to ready Earth for potential contact with alien civilizations. Now, it seemed, their preparations would be put to the test. "Show me their trajectory," Wilson ordered. The main screen displayed a 3D map of the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of the unknown vessels, their projected path clearly aimed toward the inner planets. Their formation was too precise to be random. This was a coordinated fleet movement. As the team watched, more ships appeared at the edge of their detection range. The vessels moved with purpose, spreading out in a pattern that military analysts quickly recognized. It was a standard search grid, the kind used when surveying unknown territory. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Rogers from her communication station, "we're picking up transmissions between the vessels. The encryption is unlike anything in our database, but the pattern suggests organized military communications." Wilson nodded. He'd seen enough. "Initiate Protocol 7, he commanded. Across the globe, hidden sensors and monitoring stations activated, gathering data about the approaching fleet. Meanwhile, military forces quietly moved to their designated positions, careful to maintain normal patterns that would be visible from space. The next few hours brought more revelations. The unknown ships began systematic scans of the outer planets, their energy signatures pulsing with each sweep. The scientists worked frantically to decode the alien transmissions, using advanced quantum computers hidden in underground facilities. Finally, Dr. Roberts approached Wilson again, his face pale. "Admiral, we've managed to decrypt some of their communications. They call themselves the Meridian Empire. From what we can tell, they control thousands of worlds across multiple galaxies." Wilson's jaw tightened, and their purpose here. "They're conducting a standard survey. Earth has been marked as," Dr. Roberts paused, swallowing hard, "as a potential acquisition target. They're assessing our defenses and resource value." A small smile crossed Wilson's face, surprising those around him. "So they think we're just another primitive world to conquer." He turned to face his team. "Let's keep it that way, for now." Orders went out across the globe, transmitted through secure channels that had been prepared years in advance. Military exercises were canceled. Satellite operations were maintained at routine levels. Everything had to appear normal, giving no indication that humanity had detected the approaching fleet. In his private office, Wilson opened a secure communication line to the World Security Council. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "First Contact Protocol is now in effect. The Galactic Empire has set its sights on Earth." He paused, allowing the gravity of the situation to sink in. But they don't know that we've been expecting them. Operation Silent Shield is now active. As the sun rose over the monitoring station, the first phase of humanity's response was already in motion, while the Empire's ships continued their methodical approach, believing they had found another helpless world to add to their collection. Earth's defenders prepared to show them just how wrong they were. The Empire was about to learn a crucial lesson. Never judge a civilization by its apparent level of technology. Sometimes, the most dangerous predators are those that know how to hide their teeth. 3 days after the initial detection, the Meridian Empire's scout ships entered the inner solar system. They moved with practiced efficiency, their sleek forms gliding past Mars like dark shadows against the stars. Earth's defenders watched and waited, maintaining their carefully crafted illusion of ignorance. In his command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Wilson studied the holographic display of the Imperial fleet's movements. The pattern was becoming clear. They were following a standard conquest protocol, one they had likely used hundreds of times before. "Show me their scan patterns," Wilson ordered. The display shifted, revealing waves of energy washing over Earth's surface. The Empire was checking everything: military installations, power plants, communication networks, and resource deposits. Dr. Laura Thompson entered the command center, her tablet displaying streams of decoded Imperial communications. "Admiral, we've cracked more of their transmissions," she said, her eyes bright with discovery. "They're categorizing Earth as a Class 3 civilization, primitive by their standards, but with enough technology to be worth conquering." Wilson nodded slowly. "And what have they learned about our defenses?" "They're seeing exactly what we want them to see," Thompson replied. "Our decoy satellites, the obvious military bases, the surface-level technology. They think we're just discovering basic spaceflight." She smiled. "They have no idea about the quantum shield network or the gravity pulse weapons." The massive screens showed the Empire's scout ships moving into their final assessment positions. High Marshal Rex, the Imperial commander, appeared to be following their standard playbook perfectly. His ships maintained what they thought was a safe distance, unaware that Earth's sensors could track their every move. In orbit, one of the Imperial scout ships passed close to what appeared to be a simple weather satellite. The satellite quietly scanned the alien vessel, gathering crucial data about their shield frequencies and hull composition. Similar data collection was happening all across Earth's orbit, each piece of information feeding into the quantum computers hidden in underground bases. "Sir," called out Captain Mike Roberts from his monitoring station, "we're detecting energy builds in their weapon systems. They're running combat simulations." The Admiral watched as the Imperial ships tested different attack scenarios. They were methodically working out the best way to subjugate Earth with minimal damage to its resources. It was almost amusing how predictable they were. "Dr. Thompson," Wilson called, "show me their conquest pattern analysis." The main screen filled with data from previously conquered worlds. The Empire's strategy was consistent. They would start with a show of force, usually destroying a few military installations. Then they would demand surrender, promising to spare the population in exchange for complete submission. Any resistance would be met with overwhelming force. "They'd done this dozens of times," Thompson explained, scrolling through the data. "Each invasion follows the same pattern. They're so confident in their superiority that they've become complacent." Wilson's eyes narrowed as he studied the information. "And that will be their downfall. How long until they finish their assessment?" "Based on their current scan patterns, less than 12 hours, Thompson replied. "They're already drafting their initial intimidation strike plan." In their ships above Earth, the Imperial forces continued their work, completely unaware they were being studied just as carefully as they were studying Earth. High Marshal Rex prepared his report for the Imperial Command, documenting Earth's apparent weaknesses and recommending a standard conquest approach. The Empire's ships moved with absolute confidence, their crews certain of their technological superiority. They had conquered countless worlds this way, and Earth seemed no different. Their scans showed primitive nuclear weapons, basic space stations, and predictable defensive installations. Everything pointed to an easy victory. But beneath the surface, Earth's true defenses hummed with power. Hidden bases across the planet monitored every Imperial movement. Quantum computers processed the gathered data, updating defensive strategies in real time. The gravity pulse weapons remained powered down but ready, their existence completely hidden from Imperial scans. Wilson stood at his command post, watching the Empire position their fleet for the coming show of force. "Send word to all commands," he ordered. "Operation Silent Shield enters Phase 2 at dawn. Let them make their plans. Let them think they know what they're dealing with." As the Empire's assessment drew to a close, humanity's defenders continued their patient wait. Soon, very soon, the Empire would learn that appearances can be deceiving, and that some worlds are far more dangerous than they seem. Dawn broke over the Pacific Ocean as the Meridian Empire's fleet moved into attack position. High Marshal Rex had chosen his first target carefully, a small military base on a remote island. It would serve as the perfect demonstration of Imperial power, showing Earth's defenders the futility of resistance. In the underground command center, Admiral Wilson watched the enemy ships with calm eyes. "Status of Protocol Omega?" he asked. "All systems ready, sir," Dr. Thompson replied. "Quantum shields are charged but inactive. Gravity pulse weapons are primed. The Empire's sensors still show only our decoy defenses." Wilson nodded and opened a secure channel to all Earth defense stations. "This is Admiral Wilson. The enemy will fire their warning shot in approximately 10 minutes. Remember your training. No response until my mark." Above the Earth, High Marshal Rex prepared to launch the Empire's standard intimidation strike. His massive command ship, nearly 2 miles long, led a formation of smaller vessels. Their weapons powered up, creating beautiful patterns of purple energy against the black of space. "Target locked," reported an Imperial gunner. "The primitive installation will be completely destroyed." Rex smiled. He had done this dozens of times before. These shows of force always followed the same pattern: shock, fear, and then submission. "Fire when ready," he ordered. The Imperial ships launched their attack. Brilliant beams of energy sliced through Earth's atmosphere, heading straight for the military base. But something unexpected happened. Just before impact, the air itself seemed to shimmer. The powerful energy beams struck what appeared to be empty space and stopped. They didn't explode. They didn't scatter. They simply vanished. In the command center, Wilson allowed himself a small smile. "Now," he said quietly. Across Earth's orbit, thousands of hidden satellites activated at once. They had been disguised as space debris, old rockets, and broken equipment. Now they revealed their true nature, projecting an energy field that encompassed the entire planet. Rex stared in disbelief as his sensors suddenly came alive with new readings. "Impossible," he whispered. Where moments ago there had been only primitive defenses, now there was an energy shield more advanced than anything in the Imperial fleet. "Sir," called one of his officers, "we're detecting power signatures throughout Earth's orbit. They're not like anything in our database." Wilson's voice crackled through every Imperial communication channel, speaking in perfect Imperial standard. "High Marshal Rex, this is Admiral James Wilson of Earth's United Space Command. We've been watching you study us. Now, allow us to provide a small demonstration of our own." At Wilson's signal, Dr. Thompson activated a single gravity pulse weapon. The beam was invisible to the naked eye, but its effect was dramatic. One of the Empire's smaller ships suddenly found itself unable to move, caught in a field that bent gravity itself. "As you can see," Wilson continued, his voice calm and professional, "we are not as primitive as you assumed. The base you targeted was a decoy. In fact, most of what you've scanned has been carefully crafted to meet your expectations." The Imperial fleet's sensors were now showing the true extent of Earth's orbital defenses. Hidden weapons platforms emerged from their stealth fields. Defense satellites revealed their real capabilities. And deep beneath the ocean's surface, Enormous energy signatures suggested weapons that the Empire's scientists couldn't even understand. Rex gripped his command chair tightly. In all his years of conquest, he had never encountered anything like this. These humans had somehow hidden their true technological level, letting the Empire believe they were an easy target. "This is your only warning," Wilson concluded. "Earth is not a primitive world to be conquered. We are not helpless, and we are not unprepared. You have 1 hour to withdraw your fleet beyond the orbit of Mars. After that, we will consider your presence an act of war." In the silence that followed, Rex looked at the sensor readings again. The humans had hidden their capabilities so well, which meant they had been preparing for this moment for years, perhaps decades. They had studied the Empire's conquest patterns and developed specific countermeasures. As his fleet hummed motionless in Earth's orbit, Rex faced a decision that no Imperial commander had faced before. The Empire had set its sights on Earth, but Earth, it seemed, had set its sights on the Empire first. High Marshal Rex did not order his fleet to retreat. In all his years serving the Meridian Empire, he had never backed down from a challenge. Instead, he ordered his ships to begin their standard combat formation. An interesting choice. Admiral Wilson observed from Earth's command center. He watched as the Imperial ships spread out in an attack pattern. "Dr. Thompson, are you recording their tactical formations?" "Every move," she replied, her fingers dancing across her control panel. "Their battle strategies are becoming quite predictable. They're positioning their heavy cruisers at these 3 points, just like they did in their last 6 conquests." Wilson nodded and opened a channel to all Earth defense stations. "The Empire has chosen to ignore our warning. Initiate defense pattern Delta." Across Earth's orbit, hidden weapons platforms came to life. But these weren't the simple missile launchers or energy cannons the Empire expected. Each platform contained technology that humanity had developed in secret, specifically designed to counter Imperial weapons. Rex watched his tactical display with growing concern. The human defenses were moving in ways that made no sense, until he realized they were perfectly countering his fleet's standard attack patterns. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "the humans are deploying some kind of energy web between their defense platforms." Before Rex could respond, Dr. Thompson activated Earth's primary defense system. Quantum-linked satellites created a web of energy fields throughout Earth's orbit. Any Imperial ship that tried to move through these fields would find their engines suddenly powerless. "You seem surprised, Marshal Rex." Wilson's voice came through the command channel again. "Did you think we wouldn't study your conquest patterns? That we wouldn't prepare specific countermeasures?" To demonstrate his point, Wilson ordered the activation of a single gravity pulse cannon. The beam struck one of the Empire's heavy cruisers. Instead of causing damage, it simply held the massive ship in place, negating its advanced engines as if they were toys. "Impossible," Rex shouted as his sensors showed more human weapons powering up. "Our scans showed nothing like this. How did you hide such technology?" In the command center, Dr. Thompson allowed herself a small smile. "The same way we've been hiding it for the past 50 years, she muttered. "By making sure you saw exactly what you expected to see." Wilson gave the order for the next phase. Across Earth's surface, hidden installations revealed themselves. What had appeared to be simple military bases now showed their true nature. Defensive shields flickered into existence over major cities, far more advanced than anything the Empire possessed. "Let me be clear, Marshal Rex," Wilson said, his voice firm but not threatening. "We've spent decades preparing for this moment. Every weapon in your fleet, every tactic in your playbook, we've studied them all. We know exactly how your ships work, down to the last circuit." To prove his point, Wilson nodded to Dr. Thompson. She pressed a sequence of commands, and suddenly every Imperial ship's main computer displayed the same message. "Your shields are operating at 32.7% efficiency due to quantum interference." Rex stared at his own computer in disbelief. The humans hadn't just prepared defenses, they had found ways to hack Imperial systems, something that should have been impossible. "This is your final warning," Wilson continued. "You have 30 minutes to withdraw. After that, we will demonstrate our offensive capabilities. I don't think either of us wants that." In the tense minutes that followed, Rex faced the most difficult decision of his career. His ships hung motionless in space, caught in Earth's gravity fields. His tactical officers reported that human weapons had locked onto every vessel in his fleet. And worst of all, his own computers were compromised. For the first time, an Imperial commander had to consider the possibility of retreat. Not because Earth had more ships or bigger weapons, but because humanity had done something unprecedented. They had prepared, adapted, and turned the Empire's own tactics against them. As the minutes ticked down, Wilson watched the Imperial fleet with steady eyes. Earth had revealed its strength, not through brute force, but through careful planning and innovative technology. Now they waited to see if the Empire would learn from this lesson, or if they would have to teach them an even harder one. High Marshal Rex paced the bridge of his command ship, his boots clicking against the polished floor. 25 minutes had passed since Earth's ultimatum. In 5 minutes, he would either have to retreat, something no Imperial commander had done in 300 years, or face whatever offensive capabilities the humans had prepared. "Status report," he barked. His chief engineer looked up from his console, face pale. "Sir, we still can't break free from their gravity fields." And he hesitated. "They've somehow transmitted a computer virus through our quantum shields. Our weapons systems are showing strange errors." On Earth, Dr. Thompson monitored the Empire's frantic attempts to regain control of their systems. "They're trying to purge our code from their computers," she reported to Admiral Wilson. "Should we show them the rest?" Wilson checked the time. "Give them one more demonstration. Something small, but meaningful." Thompson nodded and entered a series of commands. Across the Imperial fleet, every ship's artificial gravity suddenly shifted by exactly 1%. It wasn't enough to cause harm or even discomfort, but the message was clear. Earth could control even the most basic systems on their ships. Rex felt the slight change and gripped his command chair. "Send a message to Imperial Command," he ordered. "Priority 1. The communication officer tried, then tried again. "Sir, we can't. All our quantum communication channels are being blocked. We can only communicate with Earth." In the underground command center, Wilson watched the clock tick down. 3 minutes remaining, he announced. "Dr. Thompson, are the orbital platforms in position?" "Yes, sir. All 23 platforms have a lock on their targets. The quantum disruptors are charged and ready." The Empire's sensors detected the power buildup in Earth's orbital weapons. The energy readings were beyond anything their scientists could explain. If those weapons fired, there would be no way to predict their effects. Rex made his decision. "All ships, begin power-down procedures." His second-in-command stepped forward. "Sir, you can't be serious. We've never retreated from a primitive world." "Look at your screens," Rex replied sharply. "Does this look like a primitive world to you? They've countered every move we've made. They know our tactics better than we do. And most importantly," he pointed to the main display, showing Earth's orbital defense grid, "they could have destroyed us at any time. They chose to warn us instead." The humans had indeed shown remarkable restraint. They had demonstrated their power without causing any actual damage. They had compromised Imperial systems without harming Imperial crews. Even now, their gravity fields held the ships immobile without causing structural stress. Wilson's voice came through the command channel once more. 1 minute remaining, Marshal Rex. What's it going to be?" Rex squared his shoulders and activated his command channel. "Admiral Wilson, this is High Marshal Rex of the Meridian Empire. We acknowledge your superiority in this engagement. My fleet will withdraw beyond Mars orbit as requested." In the command center, a cheer went up from the staff, but Wilson quickly silenced them with a raised hand. "This wasn't over yet." "A wise choice, Marshal," Wilson replied. "Dr. Thompson will transmit coordinates for a safe withdrawal route. I suggest you follow them exactly." Some of our defensive measures are difficult to see. As the Imperial fleet began their careful retreat, Rex received a final message from Earth. It was a data packet containing details of every weakness the humans had discovered in Imperial technology, along with suggestions for fixing them. Consider it a gesture of good faith, Wilson's message read. We'd prefer to be allies rather than enemies. Rex read the report with growing amazement. The humans hadn't just prepared to defend themselves. They had studied Imperial technology so thoroughly that they could improve it. This was not the action of a primitive race, but of a civilization that might be worthy of respect rather than conquest. As the Imperial ships moved away from Earth, following the humans' designated safe path, Rex began composing his report to Imperial Command. For the first time in centuries, the Empire would have to acknowledge that they had found a world they couldn't simply take. More importantly, they had found a civilization that might have much to teach them. 3 days after the Empire's retreat, Earth's defenders remained at high alert. Admiral Wilson stood in the command center, watching the Imperial fleet holding position beyond Mars' orbit. The massive ships hung against the black of space like distant stars, their powerful engines idle. "Message from High Marshal Rex," announced the communications officer. "He says the Imperial command ship will arrive in 6 hours." Wilson nodded. This was the moment they had been waiting for. The Empire's highest authorities were coming to see for themselves why one of their most experienced commanders had chosen retreat over conquest. Dr. Thompson entered the command center, carrying her tablet. "The quantum detection grid is picking up a large ship entering the solar system," she reported. "It's at least 3 times bigger than Rex's command ship." "Show me," Wilson ordered. The main screen displayed a massive vessel emerging from faster-than-light travel. Unlike the military ships of Rex's fleet, this one was clearly designed to impress. Its golden hull gleamed in the sunlight, decorated with symbols of Imperial power. "They're trying to intimidate us with size and grandeur," Wilson observed. "Typical Empire thinking." "Dr. Thompson, are our special preparations ready?" She smiled. "Everything is in place, sir. The quantum link is stable, and all systems are synchronized." The Imperial command ship moved slowly through the solar system, escorted by Rex's fleet. On its bridge stood the Imperial High Command, 12 of the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. They had come not just to investigate a failed conquest, but to evaluate a potential threat to Imperial power. As the command ship approached Mars, Wilson activated Earth's global defense network. But this time, instead of showing their weapons, they revealed something else entirely. Thousands of hidden satellites activated specialized quantum projectors. The space around Earth lit up with a stunning display of technological achievement. 3-dimensional star maps appeared, showing the entire known galaxy. Complex mathematical formulas floated in space, demonstrating humanity's understanding of physics that even the Empire hadn't mastered. "Quite a display," Rex commented from his ship, watching the show with newfound respect. The Imperial command ship slowed to a stop, its sensors trying to process the vast amount of scientific data Earth was freely sharing. The High Command stood in stunned silence as they realized these primitives had solved theoretical problems that Imperial scientists had struggled with for centuries. Wilson opened a communication channel. "Greetings, Imperial High Command. Welcome to Earth. We've prepared a demonstration of why cooperation would benefit us both more than conflict." Dr. Thompson activated the final part of their plan. Every ship in the Imperial fleet received a data transmission. It contained designs for improvements to their engines, shields, and weapons, all based on Earth's advanced understanding of physics and technology. "As you can see," Wilson continued, "we've already learned much about your technology. But instead of using this knowledge to destroy your ships, we're offering to help improve them." The leader of the Imperial High Command, Grand Marshal Vale, finally spoke. His deep voice carried both authority and curiosity. "You could have destroyed our fleet, yet you chose to show mercy. You could have kept your advances secret, yet you choose to share them. Why?" Wilson's response was calm and measured. Because the galaxy is vast, and there are threats out there that neither of us fully understand. We believe that cooperation, not conquest, is the key to survival. The Imperial High Command withdrew to discuss this unprecedented situation. Never before had they encountered a civilization that had not only resisted them, but had done so with such technological superiority, and then offered to share that technology freely. Hours passed as the Empire's leaders debated. On Earth, Wilson and his team waited patiently. They had planned for this moment for decades, knowing that true victory would come not from defeating the Empire, but from changing it. Finally, Grand Marshal Vale's image appeared on the command center screen. His expression was one of careful consideration. "Admiral Wilson, the Imperial High Command has reached a decision that will change the course of galactic history." Wilson straightened in his chair. Everything they had worked for came down to this moment. Earth had shown not just its strength, but its wisdom. Now they would learn if the Empire was capable of learning from its mistakes. Grand Marshal Vale's voice echoed through Earth's command center. After careful consideration, the Imperial High Command proposes an alliance with Earth. The announcement caused a stir among the command staff, but Admiral Wilson remained calm. This was exactly the outcome they had hoped for. Years of preparation and planning had led to this moment. "The terms of this alliance?" Wilson asked, keeping his voice neutral. Vale's hologram smiled, an expression rarely seen on an Imperial leader. "Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power, equal in status to the Empire itself. In exchange for sharing your technological advances, we offer full access to our trade networks, star maps, and cultural archives." Dr. Thompson's eyes widened as she reviewed the detailed proposal on her tablet. The Empire wasn't just offering peace, they were proposing a complete partnership. "Sir," she whispered to Wilson, "they're even suggesting joint research projects." Wilson stood, addressing the Imperial High Command with dignity. "We accept your proposal, Grand Marshal, but I suggest we begin with something more immediate. Our sensors have detected a critical flaw in your command ship's quantum drive. With your permission, we'd like to help fix it." Vale looked surprised, then concerned as his engineers confirmed Wilson's observation. The flaw could have caused a catastrophic failure during their next faster-than-light jump. Once again, the humans had proven both their technological superiority and their goodwill. Within hours, Earth and Imperial engineering teams were working together. Dr. Thompson led the repair effort, teaching Imperial engineers about quantum mechanics that their scientists hadn't yet discovered. The cooperation proved infectious. Soon, teams from both civilizations were eagerly sharing knowledge and ideas. High Marshal Rex watched the collaboration from his ship's observation deck. "They're nothing like what we expected," he said to his aide. "All these years, we thought we were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. But these humans, they've been 10 steps ahead of us the whole time." A week later, Earth's orbital space became a hub of peaceful activity. Imperial ships hung in high orbit, their crews learning from human engineers. Earth's previously hidden quantum research stations now hosted scientists from across the Empire, all eager to understand humanity's technological achievements. In the command center, Wilson received an unexpected message. The Imperial Senate, impressed by Earth's handling of the situation, had requested his presence at a special session. They wanted to learn how Earth had managed to advance so quickly while staying hidden from Imperial detection. "They still don't fully understand," Wilson said to Dr. Thompson as they prepared for the journey. "Our greatest strength wasn't our technology. It was our ability to learn, adapt, and plan ahead. We studied their patterns, their technology, their culture, all while letting them see only what we wanted them to see." Thompson nodded. "And now we've turned potential conquerors into eager students. Not bad for a primitive world." The story of Earth's encounter with the Meridian Empire spread quickly through the galaxy. Other civilizations, hearing how Earth had outmaneuvered the mighty Empire without firing a shot, began reaching out for diplomatic relations. Earth's reputation grew not as a military power, but as a center of learning and innovation. 1 month after the Empire's attempted conquest, Admiral Wilson stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Earth Imperial Science Academy. Below him, ships from dozens of worlds moved through Earth's orbit. Scientists, diplomats, and traders from across the galaxy now visited Earth freely, eager to learn and share knowledge. "You know," Dr. Thompson said, joining him at the window, "when we first detected their fleet, some thought we should have struck first, shown our power immediately." Wilson shook his head. "That would have just replaced one empire with another. By choosing to share rather than destroy, we've changed the galaxy's future." The Empire came looking for a conquest and found a teacher instead. As they watched the sunset over Earth, a new Imperial ship emerged from faster-than-light travel. But this time, it carried not conquerors but students, eager to learn from the world that had transformed their empire with wisdom rather than weapons. Earth had done more than survive an invasion attempt. They had shown the galaxy a better way forward, one where knowledge and cooperation trumped conquest and domination. The Empire had indeed set its sights on Earth, but in doing so, they had discovered something far more valuable than another conquered world. They had found a partner who could help lead them into a brighter future.